In a world where towering cities rise amidst a stark, gray landscape, fear has gripped humanity like a vice. The streets are lined with posters warning against the dangers of the other, a constant reminder of the prejudice that has permeated society. Among the shadows of this city, a lone alien named Kale roams, his skin a shimmering silver and his eyes glowing softly with an inner light. Once part of a vibrant civilization, he now finds himself stranded on Earth, hunted and alone, desperate for safety and shelter. Kale's journey began with a catastrophic crash landing, his ship destroyed in a world that has no place for him. As he navigates the chaotic streets, he grapples with his emotions: fear, isolation, and an overwhelming sense of loss for his home. Each day is a battle for survival, as he dodges fearful humans who see him as a monster rather than a being in need. Meanwhile, in a bustling hospital, nurse Elena Carter dedicates her life to helping those in need. She is compassionate and driven, but the growing atmosphere of xenophobia has begun to seep into her work environment. Her colleagues exchange whispers about the alien threat, casting wary glances at anyone who appears different. Despite the pressure, Elena's heart aches for the suffering she sees around her. One fateful night, while on her shift, Elena stumbles upon Kale hiding in an abandoned alley, trembling and injured. Her instinct to help overrides the fear ingrained in her. She kneels beside him, her voice gentle. "I won't hurt you. I can help." Kale, hesitant yet desperate, allows her to assist him. As she cleans his wounds, their eyes meet, and in that moment, an unspoken understanding forms. Elena risks her reputation by secretly bringing Kale to her small apartment after her shifts, providing him with food and shelter. Each encounter deepens their bond, revealing Kale's intelligence and the profound loneliness he feels. He shares stories of his home, painting a vivid picture of a world filled with vibrant colors and harmonious existence, contrasting sharply with the harshness of Earth. Elena, in turn, shares her dreams and fears, both finding solace in their unlikely friendship. As their relationship grows, tension builds around them. Colleagues at the hospital begin to suspect Elena's unusual late-night absences. Whispers turn into accusations, and she faces opposition from her supervisor, who insists that she report Kale to the authorities. "You're putting everyone at risk," her supervisor warns, but Elena stands firm, feeling the weight of her moral responsibility. The turning point comes when a violent mob, fueled by the fears of their society, begins hunting for Kale. News reports amplify the hysteria, inciting people to take matters into their own hands. Elena's heart races as she realizes the danger Kale is in. She faces a harrowing decision: keep him hidden and risk losing her job and safety, or turn him in to save herself. Elena chooses to protect Kale. In a tense sequence, she and Kale must evade capture, navigating the darkened streets filled with chanting crowds. Every moment feels like a heartbeat away from disaster. Their bond is tested as they sprint through alleyways, ducking behind crates and vehicles, the shadows closing in around them. Kale uses his alien abilities, creating illusions to mislead their pursuers, but the risks grow greater with every passing second. After a narrow escape, they find refuge in a safe house, where Elena's resolve is put to the test. She knows that aiding Kale could cost her everything. The reality of societal rejection looms large, threatening to tear apart her life and career. Friends begin to distance themselves, and her family confronts her, expressing their fears. "You're choosing him over us," they cry, shattering her heart. In the midst of this turmoil, Kale, despite his own suffering, comforts Elena. "You are not alone in this," he reassures her, and together, they devise a plan to reveal the truth about their worlds. They decide to host a public gathering, a chance for Kale to share his story and challenge the prejudices that have taken root in society. The day arrives, and as Kale stands before a crowd, his voice resonates with raw emotion. He speaks of hope, of love, and the universality of suffering. "I am not your enemy," he implores, sharing his vision of a future where fear gives way to understanding. As he speaks, Elena stands at his side, embodying the courage it takes to defy the norm. Reactions ripple through the crowd: confusion, anger, and then, slowly, understanding. Some step forward, moved by his story, while others remain entrenched in their fear. The clash of ideologies ignites a fierce debate, but Cale's presence plants seeds of doubt in the minds of the most prejudiced. In the aftermath, the media frenzy begins. Headlines shift from fearmongering to a focus on the potential for unity. Yet, not all is resolved. The backlash is swift, threats arise, and Cale's safety hangs by a thread. Elena finds herself under scrutiny, facing potential legal consequences for her actions. As society grapples with its response, Cale is given the opportunity to return home, but the choice weighs heavily on him. He can either flee back to safety or stay and continue fighting for understanding alongside Elena. In a poignant moment, he reflects on the bond they've forged, realizing that love and compassion transcend worlds. The story concludes with a powerful message: true humanity lies in the choices we make in the face of fear. Elena and Cale, now united in their fight, symbolize the potential for change. Their journey challenges audiences to reconsider their own prejudices, inspiring a wave of compassion that ripples through society. In the end, they stand not just for themselves but for all who seek understanding in a world divided.